Are you
I
ready for an
remember the
adventure?
photographs. Before we went looking for them,
Always,
that's all we
especially with
had.
you.
9 smiling faces, full of the kind of strength you only find in the young. They were expert skiers, students from the Urals Polytechnic Institute, led by a young man named Igor Dyatlov. In January of 1959, they set out on a winter expedition into the northern Ural Mountains. A grand adventure. The last images they took show them laughing, building their camp full of life. They had no idea where they were. Their destination was a mountain the local Mansi people called Kolatsiakhla. We, of course, were Soviets. We didn't listen to local superstitions. We should have. In the Mansi language, it means the mountain of the dead. I was part of the search and rescue team. They never returned. And what we found on that frozen slope has haunted my sleep for over 60 years. When my team and I finally reached the campsite on February 26th, the silence was the first thing that hit me. It was a dead, unnatural silence. Then we saw the tent, partially buried but mostly intact. And right away I knew something was terribly wrong. It had been sliced open from the inside. I ran my glove over the canvas. These weren't rips from the wind, they were clean cuts from a knife. A frantic escape. Inside, everything was left behind. Their boots, their warm clothes, their maps, their food, their cameras. What could possibly make 9 experienced hikers panic so badly that they would cut their way out of their only shelter and run into a blizzard at 30 degrees below zero? The footprints told a chilling story. 8 or 9 sets of them heading down toward a nearby forest. Some were wearing only socks. Some were completely barefoot. Under a towering cedar tree at the edge of the woods, we found the first 2, Yuri and Yuri. They were only in their underwear. Their hands were burned and scraped to the bone, as if they had desperately, madly tried to claw their way up the tree. A small, pathetic fire had been built nearby and had died out. We found 3 more, including Dyatlov, between the woods and the tent. Their bodies were frozen in postures that suggested they were trying to crawl back to the shelter they had fled. All 5 of them had died of hypothermia. An open and shut case, my superiors wanted to believe. But it explained nothing. Why were they out there in the first place? We searched for 2 more months. And then, in May, as the snow began to melt, we found the last 4. That is when this mystery became a nightmare. They were found in a ravine under 4 meters of snow. And they held the key to the insanity. I'll never forget reading the coroner's report. Ludmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotaryov had suffered massive, crushing chest fractures. Nikolai Thiboks-Brignoles had a shattered skull. The doctor who wrote the report said the force required was equivalent to being hit by a car at high speed. But the most horrifying part, the part that makes no sense, was that none of them had a single external bruise or soft tissue injury. It was as if they had been crushed by some immense, invisible pressure. And then there was Lyudmila. The report stated, clinically, that her tongue, her eyes, and part of her lips were missing. As if that wasn't enough, my colleague's Geiger counter chattered like a broken machine over some of their clothing. Radiation. Where in God's name did they find radiation on that mountain? The official investigation was closed abruptly. The files were classified, and the final verdict was an insult to our intelligence, a phrase that explained nothing. The victims died from a compelling natural force. But I was there. I saw the scene, and their force doesn't answer my questions, the questions that have followed me ever since. What made them run? What caused those impossible internal injuries? Where did the radiation come from? And what happened to Lyudmila's tongue and eyes? All these years later, the theories fly. An avalanche? But the campsite was intact. A secret military weapons test? It would explain the radiation and the cover-up. Infrasound from the wind driving them mad? Or do you listen to the Mansi, who speak of the Menk, a creature like the Yeti that protects the sacred mountain? Or the strange glowing spheres that other hikers reported in the sky that very night? I don't know what to believe. But when I close my eyes, I don't see monsters or conspiracies. I see 9 smiling faces in those photographs, frozen in time before their lives were stolen by something inexplicable. The only witness is the mountain, and the mountain keeps its secrets. It always will. The story has come to an end. If it left a powerful impression on you, please consider supporting the channel with a like and subscription. It's the best way to ensure more stories like this can continue to be told. Thank you.